Queen is an amazing woman. She raised a beautiful family and decided to devote her time to beautify the society and help those who want to offer free healthcare services to the needy and deserving patients. She is multi talented. She is Rashna Kastar. Hello again, and thank you again. I know you had such a long day and you just finished your online classes, and still, you honored my request and you are part of this podcast series, Duty Queen. So tell me, how do you see yourself? How would you like to introduce Rashna Gastar to the world?
First of all, thank you very much, Rakshanda, for having me today on Duty Queens. And I would just say that I am just a very simple person and very happy to be a Pakistani now after almost 31 years. And I got married in 1990 and came here. And I initially gave a lot of my time to raising both my sons and my family. But I was always privately teaching piano from my house and giving French lessons. And I've always taught privately. And initially, worked on a very small scale and devoted my time to my children. And today, mashallah, they are both doctors. And as you know, they played a very major role in COVID-19.
Yes.
And both of them served effortlessly and I would say selflessly. I wouldn't say effortlessly, actually. They worked with a lot of stress also. And they served in the isolation wards, helping many patients. And it was a very stressful time for us.
Yeah.
But other than that, once they were older and grown up, I devoted a lot of my time to my own classes. I expanded further. And I also learned Spanish later on in life at the age of 45 because French and Spanish are very linked languages. And I somehow took to it very fast. I worked very hard. And now I'm also teaching Spanish from my house. And it's really nice because my children are occupied and basically I am occupied from my home. And now due to the pandemic, I've been teaching online. So it keeps me very happy because it's the work that I've always loved doing. And I've basically started hosting fundraisers through our piano concerts to help needy institutes. And it gives a very fulfilling feeling.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would say is Rashna. That's not just a simple lady.
No, you're very humble. And I've seen that most of the achievers and women especially, who are really accomplished and who are genuinely, empowered, they are very humble. And so are you. And we are lucky to have you. We as Pakistan, we are lucky to have you, Rashna. Now, but you paint also and you do embroidery and you are an entrepreneur as well. So would you like to share some details about these things that you do along with?
Actually, my embroidery was actually taught to me in India by my grandmother, who was very, very good in cross stitch. And she was trained in South India by the nuns. And then it passed down to my mother, and it was always a family art and craft. And I have started it here, but actually my own grandmother, when she visited me here, she started this line here and told me that start making embroidered towels and start making mats and serviettes and napkins. Why are you just sitting and going on making pictures? You have a lot of talent. You can do something. And so I started a small line from my house only called Stitch Craft. And I keep a lot of the items at home. People come and they tell me, we want napkins to give as gifts, or we want to give an order for wedding towels, or we want a wedding set, a table cover and napkins. So whatever people want, I do have one or two simple workers who work alongside me. And I've always had some project or the other going because it's very relaxing. And if you want, I can just show you. I've done this during lockdown. It's a very small, sweet picture. And I actually saw it on a Facebook group, and it was a village. And I copied it from that picture. And then I framed it for my house. But another great passion that I have is also of coloring. And that is actually a hobby I started with in 2017. And we started doing adult coloring. And a lot of my students used to encourage me that because I always loved colors with my embroidery. That, Rashna aunty, you can try doing this, you can try blending this. And so slowly I got myself into the art of watercolor painting. I'm now dabbling a bit in acrylics, and I use a lot of different color pencils like Prismacolors and Polychromos. And I took a lot of tutorials, and I so enjoy it because it's from various adult coloring books. And then a lot of our pictures are framed and given to hospitals. My group and I have given a lot of pictures to Indus Hospital. There is an entire wall there. And to the National Institute of Child Health, we have pictures like these, simple ones. But this is actually just colored by me. And something like this. So it gives us a lot of pleasure that.
Yeah, so many mediums that
And I always enjoyed a hobby. Somehow it relaxes me. Even after my classes, always for 1 or 2 hours, I definitely do something to relax myself. And I feel this is one of the best stress relievers.
That's great. That's great. Rashna, I was reading about you, and I noticed that you had experienced some really, stressful and painful moments, and yet you decided to, to take up the challenge.
In 2014, unfortunately, my husband, owing to diabetic retinopathy, he lost his eyesight in both his eyes. And it was a very big shock for our family because, unfortunately, his case had been spoiled by a certain clinic. And I was told that there's just no hope for him. And it was a very dark time for us because suddenly it happened. And within a week, your husband is groping around with the remote control. He can't see the buttons. He can't see his way to the washroom. It was very stressful. And it was like either I don't know how to explain it. Either I drowned or I just had to pull myself up to the surface and go with the flow.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate that a good friend took us to a lovely clinic run by Dr. Manas Naveed Shah at Clifton in Karachi, and a very good retinologist, Dr. Rehman Siddiqui. He actually saved my husband, and my husband, mashallah, with a lot of surgeries. I think probably in 1 year, he must have had at least 7 to 8 procedures. Very costly, very painful, very stressful for the entire family. But I would say right from the darkness, this doctor brought us slowly back into the light. And it was a very big struggle for us as a family because we were very close. And I cannot tell you the amount of support I've had from my sons. Very often people say that, you don't have daughters, what a pity. But I think that the amount of support I got from both my children who were students, but who round the clock helped us get through this spell was just amazing. And of course, I still continued teaching and I had my classes going on. And one day in a music competition, I was hearing my own students play. And my husband was, of course, unable to attend. He was still not able to see well and he was at home. And that is when it struck me that why don't I use this talent of my students who play so well and let me try my best to have a fundraiser. In 2015, we had our first fundraiser for LRBT eye hospitals because I just felt I wanted to give back to society. I was so thankful to God that, my husband from darkness has finally come into the light and now he's able to lead a normal life. He's able to read, he's able to move around, which we thought would never be possible. And after that, it was our first fundraiser. I was very afraid that will I even succeed? But I had a very good support system of kind parents, lovely pupils who all agreed that yes, we will play, very nice sponsors. And from there, somehow, we just never looked back. It was my first fundraiser in 2015. And then every single year after that, up to today, we have one coming up for Lady Dufferin Hospital in 2021. And we have just collected crores of rupees for poor and needy institutes. And basically, it was sad that an incident happened in my life where I realized that I just needed to help poor people because we ourselves as a middle class family had undergone so much expense
Yes.
Just over eye surgeries. I used to think that what will a poor person do? How is he going to even afford a simple cataract surgery or even a retina or, the retinal surgeries? So that is what basically moved me. And I don't know, it was a kind of an idea that came to me in a music competition. I was sitting in Awari Towers hearing my own pupils play. I was inwardly very emotional because some of them were playing very well. I was very upset that my husband wasn't there. And somehow that just pushed me into doing fundraisers. And after that, we've helped Indus Hospital's Children's Cancer Ward. We have helped APSA, the school and college for the deaf, which was also a wonderful experience working with physically challenged children. And we always go into the institute as well, and we never stop visiting them. Even after our work, we just love to go and meet the people, the patients. And what struck me during my cancer fundraiser for children, that is, I actually did that because my father has passed away in 2002 in India with brain cancer, and I wanted to help cancer patients. And initially, I was very upset to see children and enter the children's ward. So I told my pupils that you all wait outside. Some of us adults will just go in, meet the children, and come out. And they said, no, we are coming in with you. We are playing for them. We are raising funds in our concert for them. We want to be there with you. And somehow they have always come with me. Any fundraiser we've done, and then afterwards we have also helped the National Institute of Child Health. And there we have painted an entire wall to make the place bright and cheerful because there were a lot of sick children there also. And then we would go from ward to ward. And sometimes, I cannot tell you, it's a hot month of June. We would be climbing and getting down 4 to 5 floors, sweating away, but there would never be a word of grumble from any child accompanying me, my pupils, or their parents who also would come to give that support. And we would visit, we would try to cheer up the patients. And another very touching fundraiser we did was for Parsi General Hospital. We played for our own community. It's a small hospital in Karachi, and it is more like an old age home now, where the elderly in our community are very well looked after. And it is also a rehabilitation center in the sense after operations, a lot of old people go to recover and they are given physiotherapy and a lot of help which you don't get at home. And that fundraiser also was so touching because we would go and meet old people, we would perform on our Navroz functions, have musicals in the hospital, and we would get everybody together and they would be so happy. They would clap their hands with us and we would sing, and I would have children coming and dancing. And somehow that really showed us that, old age is something we are all going to experience.
Yes.
And they would be so happy just to have company or just to have somebody say a hello, sit down and talk to them. One gentleman, every time he saw us, he would burst out crying. And actually, so many parents told me that, Rashna, it's not just playing in a concert. It is basically, even our own children are realizing that there is so much that you can give back to society. It doesn't mean that you have to give something like, always a fundraiser doesn't mean that somebody gives me 10 lakhs or somebody is giving me 5 lakhs or someone is giving me just a 500. It is the love with which everybody has contributed. And even a small amount then goes into making the big picture, what I mean. And I just can't tell you the amount of support we have got. And there's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of planning. Now, this time for Lady Dufferin Hospital, that's a maternity hospital. Both my sons were born there. There is a private wing, but the majority of 2-3 buildings there, the major buildings there are seen to deliveries and treatment of poor ladies and their children. And of course, there are senior ladies also with gynecological problems. And just now, COVID has affected the hospital so badly. They so badly need funds. They are expanding and there is such a burden of patients. So we are holding an online fundraiser again this year. The concert will be online in middle September. And we are very eager to help this institute as well.
So, Rashna, you have done so much of fundraising for different hospitals. You know the real issues, maternal mortality, infant mortality, issues of people who have physical disabilities, issues and challenges of old people, people who have disadvantages of all forms. Not only they are income poor, they are um, poor in terms of opportunities as well. They have access issues. So you know what is the problem and where is the problem. And you have, as you mentioned, that you have a great support system, your family, your friends, your students, you all work together and you make a great team.
Yes.
This is all good. And we need more people like you, who can make a difference. But somehow, I also believe that there should be an enabling environment. There should be, good laws. There should be implementation of good laws, and there should be policies that ensure that all citizens of Pakistan should get their basic rights. They should have, health facilities. They should have opportunities to receive education. They should have opportunities to earn their life, to sustain themselves through decent paid work. So, if since you have done so much and you know so many and you are influential, you have a cloud. So, if I ask you that if Rashna Kastar has to give one policy recommendation for the financial and psychological empowerment of women and girls, because here we are more focused on the communities of women and girls, what would be that recommendation?
Basically, I feel for women to be empowered and to be financially and psychologically independent, firstly, education is very important, which is sometimes lacking in many cases in not only our cities, if you see the lower strata of the society, but also it is lacking in villages. But I feel now more and more women are coming out onto their own and they are insisting on education and they are wanting to learn. And so many women have come up beautifully in Pakistan. I would see that in these 30 years that I've been here, there has been a lot of advancement in various fields. And I feel the main thing a woman needs in order to be empowered is education. And secondly, I feel that she also needs to have respect in society. Because if she's not respected in her home, she is not respected and run down by males, even in her job or in her profession. She has to be accepted that, as they say in Urdu, that Khawateen kuch bhi kar sakti hai.
Yes.
She can do anything. And she has to believe in herself. And if you believe in yourself, you can just do anything. And, I think
what is your
it's just a matter of determination.
Yeah. Women can do, girls can do. They are very determined and they have this talent. But what will be your recommendation for the policymakers, for the legislators?
I basically feel that if the government were to help women, many who are at home and who do not have jobs or who are probably not very literate on the computer, but who have a lot of talent. Because see, I myself am in these arts and crafts. Lots of women are in the houses who are doing embroidery, who do beautiful Sindhi work, the mirror work. You can also see that there are ladies like this in Punjab, Balochistan. There is lovely pottery work going on, basket work, lovely woodwork. I think if the government sometimes gives vocational training to these ladies and even help them with small term loans, that they can still look after their home and continue their craft, even from their home, or maximum go to a close by workshop, work and come back, where they have money to buy maybe a better sewing machine or some better equipment. So that would help a lot of the cottage industries. And many ladies have so much talent in the house, whether then it is to do with art or basketry or weaving or sewing,
Since you have
then fabric painting.
Yes, this is a very good recommendation, and I have heard many other women who are trying to make a difference, that they're very concerned about promoting cottage industries in Pakistan. That's, it's a very good recommendation, very relevant recommendation. Since you have worked so much for the health industry, do you think that there should be more resource allocation towards healthcare in Pakistan?
I definitely think that healthcare needs a lot of resource allocation, because as we do fundraisers and we continue also to visit the institutes we have helped, we can just see that as the population is expanding, we all know that there is so much burden of people in every single institute, so much burden that it is very sad to see that sometimes there are queues where people are waiting right out in the sun, and they have tokens that they are number 250, 230. There are sick children in their hands, and of course the doctors also are heavily burdened inside in the hospitals, and sometimes there are lack of resources. They are not able to make ends meet. They are doing their level best in every single institute. And in National Institute of Child Health, what was sad was that sometimes on one bed there were 3-4 children put together, because they were tiny, and of course they naturally needed to do their best with a smaller space. And now, of course, they are expanding. But I think the burden of patients has become so much that if more funds are given to patients where they can have some facility to buy even their medication, and it should be cheap also, because medicine is so expensive.
Yes.
So sometimes you wonder how a poor person is able to afford something if he's diabetic or he needs insulin, or how is he going to make ends meet? Now just look at the economy, the way it's being hit with COVID. So many businesses have gone down, so many people are jobless, and it is definitely going to lead to bad health, because stress leads to bad health.
Yes.
In some form or the other.
Yes, you're so right. So our healthcare systems are very, very underfunded, and resource constraint is so obvious. So more attention and urgent attention is required. And I'm happy that
absolutely
you're also advocating for more resource allocation. These are the real issues, and it is good to hear from people like you who are actually working with communities and who are actually witnessing these issues, because many a times people think, hey, these women who are sitting in their beautiful lounges and they're speaking in English, they do not know, because there are also a lot of there's a contrast, there's a gap between perception and reality. So it is such a it is so heartening to listen to somebody who is representing a middle class, urban, educated middle class woman, and she is connected with disadvantaged communities, and she has actually witnessed these issues, and she can empathize with their challenges. So, Rashna, you are a woman with so many talents. You're a super mom, super wife. You have this lot of energy, and you can analyze the issues very correctly, and you can decide on your own. So this makes you a truly, truly empowered woman. And since you have lived in Pakistan and everywhere else, empowerment of a woman in any part of the world is quite frightening for many men, and even from some women as well. So what is your own concept of empowerment? If I have to ask you to tell us, in your artistic language, it's not the jargons used by those academics here. In your own words, what is the meaning of empowerment of a woman to you?
I think my own concept is what I also said when I was chosen to be Pond's Miracle Woman in 2015.
Yes.
And I think my tagline was that women can set their minds into doing anything, and they can do that. Once you've set your mind into doing something, you will do it. And I think that my basic thing is that if you have a passion for something, go for it. And somehow in any form, you will be empowered as a woman.
Great, great advice. And this takes me to the next question that, okay, power of passion is the magical recipe for you, and you think that, and you believe that all women can, attain whatever they want to attain through their determination, through their commitment, through their hard work. There are many women who are listening to you, and there are many younger women, for whom women like you are role models, and they are trying hard. They want to be the achievers in their lives, but somehow, they find so many difficulties, the barriers that they find in the name of gender, culture, honor. So, if you have to give them 3 tips that may enable them to empower themselves, especially psychologically and financially, what would be those 3 tips?
I think I would say to young girls who probably don't have a very supportive family,
Mm,
and yet if they want to, say, become doctors, or they want to become lawyers, or they want to even take to the fashion industry, or do anything they want, the first thing is they should have a will and determination. If you are determined, and at the same time they can break through their parents rather than creating fights in a house, maybe through discussion, through dialogue, try to do their best, that education is going to help me and I want to do this, because I don't just want to get married and run a home and keep cooking. I also want to work and look after my family. So I think there should be a good rapport between the person and the family also, because if there's no family support, it's very difficult. But yet, if you're determined, you can still do anything. So I would say that education, again, I feel is important, because that shows you a perspective on life, on how you can move ahead in whatever field you choose. It makes you, I would say, independent in your ideas, your views. And I think that is the best way that a person can move ahead.
So, education, determination, and start a
Yeah.
conversation with your parents, with your families. Something might work.
Actually, if a family is not supportive, I have
Uh,
met certain people who have very often told me that, our family is not supportive, we want to do this. Sometimes they are even forced into marrying people they don't like.
yes.
But that is very sad. But the fact is that some girls, unfortunately, just have no say because of the social structure, which is so rigid, which has
Yeah.
come down to them. They just have no say. They can't break through the tradition. And yet, there are many people who define that. And they say that, no, this is not right. And I will do what I want. And I want to be independent. I want to work. I want to be independent, whereby even financially later on, if I'm married, I can look after my home and also have some money put aside for myself.
Mm.
You see, because many women who don't work, sometimes even the husbands, if you have seen many articles and many stories of women, the husbands don't help the wives at all. And they are very subjugated in many homes. So if a woman is doing even something small, like even maybe she's working in a school part-time, or she's a secretary, or helping out in a hospital, even part-time work, even if you earn a little bit, it gives you that independence, that ye mera hai, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it helps. It helps. There's no singular solution. There's so many factors that could help you to achieve what you want. But we have to keep on trying, because there is no magical recipe. I mean, there exists no magical recipe, but yeah, it is always good to share our own experiences. And that's why, we are speaking with you as well, because you have attained so much and you had been through so much. So if I ask you, before saying goodbye to you, that what has been the most empowering experience for you so far? Because your journey is in progress, and you have, like as we say, and miles to go before I sleep. So you have so many more accomplishments are waiting for you, and so many hospitals and needy patients are looking towards you. Rachna will be there to help them. But what has been the most empowering experience for you as of now?
I think my most empowering experience, and what has given me confidence, is I think just being able to host fundraisers, not just through music, but also by giving back to hospitals, visiting them, being with patients, continuing that work, not just forgetting about an institute after we are done. And it has given me tremendous self-satisfaction, not just as a woman, just as a person, that it is just, I cannot tell you, I just feel blessed that I have a group that supports me, and whatever has been my dream, I am able to fulfill that dream in helping people. And that's really has given me, I think, a sense of self satisfaction. And as you know, I enjoy this tagline which I put, that I have miles to go before I sleep.
Yeah.
I hope I can achieve a lot more and help many more people. And you know, you can also work with people in institutes whereby people are nice.
Yeah.
Because in majority of these institutes, wherever I've been, there has been no stress problem, no communication problem. You need to have people who are helpful, kind, always there to assist you, that, you know, oh, I want to visit on this day. Can I do this? Can I do that? And you need to have it going both ways. So I also have to thank so many of these institutes where I've made such lovely friends and people who just go all out to have us over. We are called Harmony in Helping Hands. And I think my group, Harmony in Helping Hands, is my most empowering experience as a woman.
Lovely. It's very touching. And you are creating harmony, you are helping so many, you are making a difference, and you are leading by example. Prashna Gazar, more power to you, more power to our collective actions. Thank you, Duty Queen, Prashna. So,
thank you very much, Rakshak.
there is no magical recipe. The magic is you.